for Middleton Road. In Snaith, temporary lights on High Street at Snaith Road as well because of water main work. They're finishing there tomorrow. Temporary lights as well on the A165 Kingsgate between Barmston and Wilsthorpe because of water main work. And in Winterton, temporary lights on Roxby Road at Cliff Avenue because of electricity work. And of course, in and around Blundell Park, expect heavy traffic. Grimsby Town fans making their way to the ground for tonight's big EFL Cup game. If there's a problem you want to tell us about and it's safe and legal to do so, call 08000 665959 or you can text 81333 and start your message with RH.
BBC Radio Humberside Sports.
And it's evening from Mike White as Humberside Sport is live from Blundell Park tonight for what we hope will be another special cup night to add to the Mariners' history books. A place in the League Cup quarter-finals for the first time since the 1984-85 season awaits David Artell's side. That's if, maybe a big if, they can overcome Premier League Brentford, who'll no doubt still be riding high after beating the champs Liverpool on Saturday night. We're going to build up to that game between now and kick-off at 7:45, commentary on FM, digital and Freeview on the way. We'll also talk rugby league tonight. It's one in and one out at Super League champs Hull KR. As expected, the Robins have confirmed the signing of French international hooker Jordan Desaria, whilst Eric Dorro's left the club and subsequently been announced as a new signing for returning Super League club Bradford Bulls. Give us your thoughts and views on that tonight, Rovers fans. Whichever team you support, though, drop me a message if you've got something you want to discuss. And we especially want to hear from Mariners fans making their way here or listening elsewhere about your chances of making the last 8 of the Carabao Cup.
Getting you closer to your club. To your club. BBC Radio Humberside Sports.
BBC Radio Humberside Sport then live from Blundell Park. It's a bit of a fresh one. The wind's died down a little bit from what it was like earlier today, but the floodlights are on. I always love night games anyway, but a night game in the Cup when there's a chance of a place in the last 8 of a competition as well. There's just something special about it, isn't there? And people just milling around early on. We can see Polly Bancroft down there just chatting to Jack Johnson from the club team. We've got other media here. The press box is going to be rammed to capacity. It means we're going to be packed in like sardines, and it means I'm going to be up close and personal with Gary Croft, our expert summariser for tonight. Matt Dean will be with us as well. He's just putting his rehearsals in and practice. He's doing double duty tonight. He's going to be the face of TV on Look North a little bit later on with Peter Levy as well, building up to this one. But will very much be a part of your action and your coverage for tonight. Your commentary team, Matt Dean and Gary Croft. Crofty, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Give us your thoughts on it. How are you feeling? We're about an hour and 40 away from it. What are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Well, we've all been waiting for it, haven't we, for weeks since the Manchester United game, and it's a weird one, really, because you turn up and it seems so calm, doesn't it? You know, and it's strange because we just know it's going to be kicking off one way or another later on, but at the moment it seems very calm. Everyone's very focused on what they've got to do. Everyone's doing all the pre-game stuff, including us. So there's no real sign of it happening, but obviously it's a massive occasion. You talk back dates, 40 years since Town even got close to this, and it's a massive achievement. And I said to Matt just a few minutes ago there, it just feels slightly disappointing that Grimsby aren't having a little bit more focus on them. What they've achieved. The League Two club still in at this stage is an incredible achievement. The last 16 of a major cup competition. It's an amazing job on a minuscule budget against incredible teams, who've played away. Sheffield Wednesday, we know they've had their problems, Manchester United had their problems, but these are clubs with huge budgets in comparison to Grimsby Town, and credit's got to go obviously to the management and the team, but the whole club as a whole, it's just they've done so well, and it's not just the first time. There's a good ethos at the club. It's happened in the FA Cup just a couple of seasons ago as well. This is something that we're regularly doing, and it takes a certain approach and a certain attitude from a club to be able to achieve it, and it's I think it's amazing, but I don't think it's had the coverage it deserves. I know we got BBC Humberside, well, not nationally.
It's interesting. There's a lot to pick it out from that, and we'll do that between now and kick off at 7:45 as well. Lowest ranked team remaining in the competition. Matt Dean is with us. As I said, he's done his rehearsals, ready to chat to Peter Levy. He's doing double duty tonight. How are you feeling about it, Dina? What are your thoughts?
I wish I was getting double money for it, Mike, this evening. Not the case.
We'll talk about that.
This is an
You mean
altogether...
you're getting paid you mean... Never mind, go on.
Behave yourself. This is an altogether tougher, I think, challenge tonight for Grimsby Town, because they're coming up against a team that are a lot more stable off the pitch. And on the pitch
side.
Exactly. On the pitch, we saw how capable they were at the weekend when they beat reigning Premier League champions Liverpool, but there was a circus around Manchester United when they arrived back in August. You go in the car park now outside the main stand, and there was about 3 or 4 people sort of milling around. That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge difference, And, you look at Brentford, they're an example for any team, aren't they? And it's not just sort of on the pitch, it's off the pitch, isn't it? Everything about the club's been run fantastically well. The progress that they've made, absolutely incredible. The recruitment, the management, the way Keith Andrews has stepped in, he looks like an unassuming bloke, but a hard-working fellow. He was a skipper, I believe, as a player, and he does things right. Everything about them's, they have a good look at people. I think the recruitment and the people there just seem really together as a club united, and they're not big hitters. They know what it takes to win. It's hard work, good mentality, and being together and being a club. There's only one way a club of that size can do what it does, and that's if it's all working together. Otherwise, they're a minnow, but they're fighting and succeeding in the Premier League, So it's a great club and a good example for everyone.
And they've got a backroom team that I think fully respect this competition.
Yes.
People like Jack Lester, who was here. He is the assistant first team coach. You've got Kevin O'Connor, who's spent a long time at Brentford. Keith Andrews, who's played in this competition. I think he will get his team in the right mindset for this game tonight. I don't think he'll allow any slipping of standards. And just listening to what he's had to say in the build-up to this game, he's saying that he's going to give, and his team's going to give Grimsby Town the greatest of respect. I think he's got them mentally tuned in, and I think that makes the task even more challenging. But again, the people who are on the way to the game tonight, hopefully they're going to come with the right mindset this evening, because, it isn't Manchester United. There isn't the aura around Brentford that there is around Manchester United. But still, Town are in sniffing distance of the last 8, and that's an amazing achievement should they manage to do that tonight.
But like you said, that's what makes it a trickier tie for Town. I don't think David Artell will allow it, and you would hope with the experience in the squad anyway. But it's tricky because it's that mind focus, isn't it? It's different when Man United are coming to Town. All of a sudden, as you said, the focus on the game, I think, comes from the fact that it's Brentford, middle in the Premier League, Grimsby Town League 2. I think that the general focus isn't on that game, and that's where it becomes that trickier tie tonight.
I'm interested in the mentality of this one. I just feel like, we all kind of think we've done well.
Yeah.
It could all end tonight, but we're still done well. And I think it's a dangerous attitude. I think we went with that attitude when we went to Brighton in the FA Cup. It was almost like, we've done well. If we get beat, it don't really matter, because we got... And I just felt like we didn't give it our all. I felt... Even though you're playing Brighton away in a FA Cup quarter-final, I just thought, we haven't given it our best shot.
Yeah, that was the regret, wasn't it, after that game? They didn't really lay a glove on them. They played a good Brighton team, mind you, but still, I didn't feel like they really got stuck into them.
We were talking about that this morning, weren't we, on a quick chat, and I used that Brighton game as not that you want to be negative about this. I absolutely still think Town have got a real good shot, but you just look and you go, after everything they've done to get this, is this the point? Is this that step too far?
And I've seen fans saying that, Mike.
I know, exactly.
A couple of posts that I read on our X feed saying
Step
it's a
too
bridge too far for Grimsby tonight.
Yes.
It's what your expectations are personally, and as a club, you've got to try and set that bar higher. You've got to make people believe they can do it. That's the key today. He's making David Artell making the team believe they can win today,
and the fans as
they
well.
Deserve it.
The fans as well. This is a sellout. This place is very rarely a sellout. And for the second time this season it is. Hopefully they can make that count, because let's be honest, when this place is vociferous, it makes such a difference to the players, the mentality, the way they approach the game. So hopefully from the outset, the fans that are listening to this, arriving at the game tonight, can really get behind the team from the outset and also stay behind them as well.
It's a lot about stories as well with competitions like this, and we've got one coming up a bit later on. Stay with us here on Humberside Sport, because before 7 we're going to hear from Rhys Staunton, and we'll find out whether or not he's involved or not. But even if not, he's got a really nice story. As a young boy, he was at Wembley when Bradford, as a Bradford City fan, when Bradford got to the final and obviously lost to Swansea City in the end. But Chris Cooper's been chatting to him. We're going to hear that. It's all about those little stories. Just on that team news that I mentioned there, Dina, what are we thinking? What are the big selection decisions for him?
Well, I think there was a few players who played themselves out of contention for a starting shirt tonight.
Well,
you could take your pick, couldn't you, really?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, we know what the best team is. If you averaged it out through the season, a few people did themselves favours on Saturday. It was very limp-wristed, wasn't it? And you see a little bit of unfocusedness about some of the players, maybe with an eye on this one potentially. You don't want to say that because I've been a player and you'd say you wasn't, but I think you've got to. It's a huge occasion. You're going to have one eye on it a little bit, but it was just the energy levels weren't there. And I think, when we started against Man United, the energy levels were incredible. Incredible for a League Two side, the way they got out and the way they started. And I feel like they need that today to upset the opposition, especially if he's going to change his side round. You've got to unsettle him, not let him set into any patterns at all and get him. And if you looked at Saturday, you'd see them energy levels weren't there. So that's a worry. But if they can introduce that straight from the get-go and everyone's up for it, then it could be a good night.
They like the long throw-ins into the box, Brentford. I'm wondering whether that will figure in David Artell's selection tonight. Does he bring Sam Lavelle back in for that reason? Does he bring in a taller Reece Staunton who has greater height at left-back compared to Jayden Sweeney?
Well, that's right. Yeah,
and what about Jays Kabia? Against Manchester United, he started on the bench, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
Do you think he's a shoo-in to start tonight?
Well, I think he probably will. I think he's, he can stretch teams out, can't he? And we might have to go over the top at times to clear our lines. And you want him there, chasing, closing things down, making it difficult for them to get out. The service he received at the weekend was poor, wasn't it? And he didn't really get anything over the top. But he's your man at the moment. Rose is not quite there, is he? Your alternative, Samuel Azor, someone like that who's stronger, who can get about. But I think the settled side, if it's playing well, he's in your side, isn't he? And I think that you've got to go with your best squad. I don't think you can rotate or anything like that tonight, or try and be clever. Because even with United, remember the United game, he took people off, didn't he? And brought on young lads towards the end. It's like, can we throw it away? Can we give?
But I don't think he'll be afraid to make tweaks to his team that might not necessarily be predicted by everybody.
Well, he certainly did it last time.
That's what I mean.
He played Cameron Gardner, didn't he? Up front that game, where he was like, "What? I can't believe he's done that." But he was tremendous, wasn't he? He rose to the occasion. So I think it'll be pretty much what we'd imagine it would be. It'd be difficult to think he's going to make too many changes. But you're right, with the height, I mean, Reece Staunton's done well when he's come in, hasn't he, generally, through the season. So that could be a straight-up swap, just tactically. And like he did that against Gillingham, didn't he, when he brought Sam Lavelle in for the height as well, and he did well. So that could be two good changes that you noted there, mate, to be fair.
In terms of a bit of consistency, not that this means anything, because it was like 5 weeks apart, but I just had a look at the team that he played against Sheffield Wednesday and the team that he put out on Saturday, and only two differences. Staunton played against Sheffield Wednesday, and Corey was in the midfield instead of Walker.
Well,
so
he could be recalled tonight.
I think Corey will be back in tonight. Yeah, I mean, you saw the two sides of Walker, didn't you? Getting forward and getting the box, getting goals and things like that. He's got a great finish and a nice touch on it, but the closing down the midfield was not there at the weekend. We just a yard off all the time, and I think he looked a little bit laboured. So I do think that will be one change tonight.
We will see. Matt Dean and Gary Croft with us for the big game tonight here on BBC Radio Humberside Sport. It is Grimsby Town against Brentford. It's the last 16 of the Carabao Cup, the League Cup, which Town have reached the quarter-finals twice before. 1984-85 season and 1979-80. Can they do it for a third time? It would be quite an achievement to get through to the last 8 of the competition. We're building up to it all here on Humberside Sport between now and kick-off at 7:45. But between now and 7, we'll talk other things as well. And coming up next, we're going to switch to Rugby League and talk some news from Hull Kingston Rovers.